So we have, over the past several years, we've heard some horror stories about couples that are trying to move forward and purchase their homes, whether it be not being able to qualify for a mortgage or, last minute debt that's getting popped. Is that the kind of part we got? Okay. All right.
Whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
Don't mind if you do. For some of the challenges with home ownership. So I've also seen where contractors will go in and they will pass off projects as if it's for a customer, but it's not for a customer.
What was it for?
It might have been a home that particular contractor owned, and they were trying to eventually flip it. And they were soliciting it or saying that it's a customer's build. Well, really it wasn't. It was a build that they designed, and they were going to try to sell it to someone else and try to get the most money out of it. So
okay, like they're just designing things and they didn't sell like how it's supposed to, and so they're just kind of relisting it again.
No, they designed. So if let's just say you bought a lot, an empty lot,
you're allowed to do that. You can build a house
how you want it,
and sell it to somebody. You could do that because it might be what somebody wants.
That's 100% right. But when you try to say that the house that you're building is already somebody else's, this is a house we built for a customer. That's different. You're saying that you already have a customer.
It wouldn't be under that category. It'd be under already newly built. What is it? I don't know what that category is. It's not new construction. Well, it is a new construction, but it's it was a home that was already built. Like you don't have to go through the whole process of everybody else.
The purpose of this conversation is not to discourage anyone from buying a house.
No, definitely, but make sure you look into these things. You want the first phase is what I'm thinking.
I'm going to give you 3 big pieces of information. You need to get a copy of all of the insurance with any contractor that you're working with.
Okay, number one.
You don't have to get any personnel, but you need a copy of all of those insurance, because you'll find out that a lot of people are not licensed and or bonded in certain trades. They're just general. And then you need a copy of that insurance to go with that license and bonding. Many of them do not cover workmanship, which means if I was to come to your house, I'm not a builder. If I was to come to your house and basically demolish a wall and put up a wall that was crooked, my workmanship is not covered. So you basically are out that money because I did something. Second thing, if you're working with a bank, you need to get a copy of your entire file associated with your build. So if you're doing new construction, get a copy of every inspection before you authorize any payment, period. If it's
what do they do if they're not to authorize it, if the bank is the one authorizing it to the builder? The
bank can't authorize without your permission. They're not allowed to do that. That's at the FTC level. They're not allowed to do that. You have to, as an individual, you have to sign off for money to be released. That's why even if, like you say, you make a direct deposit and you decide you're going to set something up.
Yes, but the money's not being released to you. You don't pay the constructor; they're paying.
Right, but you still have to authorize that. You have to authorize them to pay the contractor, because what you're saying is that I know that certain work was done.
Yeah, but you're authorizing basing on them doing the inspection they said they were going to do. Because obviously you're not the person that knows how to do that stuff.
Yes, but
or would know what to look for.
That brings me to my next point. Make sure, well, actually the same point. Having that inspection report, you need a copy of that indicating that what they said was done was actually done. If your inspection report is less than 10 pages and it's for an entire home, somebody messed up. I've seen full inspections that will be 20 plus pages for an entire house. It includes structural, it includes water, it includes anything associated with electric. It also includes
right, but the people that we normally get that would be the bank who would get that, not you as the person who's the customer.
The bank should get them, but I have also seen where banks provide so banks outsource this. They don't have people on staff that actually do this.
So how's the person who's the person getting everything built, even though
you need to ask, you need to know. You should be familiar and fluid with all of your process. Whoever the independent inspection companies are that they use, you should have that, and you should be able to request a thorough inspection at any given point. They pay these people as part of your mortgage package. So every time a draw has to go, if you're getting a new house and it's 3 draws or 5 draws, someone has to go physically to the property.
This is not something that they tell you, though. This is just something that you're finding out.
they're supposed to tell you these things, but a lot of that stuff is not communicated.
So you're just pretty much left with the butt in the wind, pretty much the whole time.
Well, I mean, you as a consumer, you want to be trusting, and you want to know that there's people advocating for you. That's the truth. So, there's certain rules and regulations that kind of go with that. And like I said, when you start dealing with banking, that's all monitored by the FTC. You have advocates internally for you as far as the state is concerned in the city. So if you get in a situation, you need to reach out. The ombudsman is one location that will advocate for you as far as the bank is concerned.
Okay.
You have government offices, so like the whoever the group is in your state that enforces the what is it called? The Consumer Protection Act. So whoever that group is, when they enforce that, there's certain criteria that has to be met in order for them to enforce it. So let's say hypothetically you're getting a new home. If you don't have a warranty on that new home,
that's kind of not smart.
Well,
I'm just gonna say this: don't get caught up in the decorations right now.
No.
Get caught up in them papers. Okay.
Yeah.
Get the papers.
Make sure you and keep thorough records. I mean,
don't let someone else have to, help. What's the word? Not help you. Don't put your trust in everybody else, but in a sense, don't, because you need to be well aware of what you're doing, of what's going on. And
I'm going to say it. Don't trust anyone that has.
I don't care who it is. Realtor, bank.
No.
Nobody.
Don't trust anyone that has a
on.
financial stake in this. If they are making money off of this process, do not trust them. Period.
Yeah, because you need to know what's going on. They don't get paid that much to care.
Nope. Their job is to complete their job.
Yeah, it's how many things they sell, how many things they get off.
Yep.
They're really not caring. Now, we didn't know this before, but we've heard so many stories.
Yeah. And
so many crazy things, and so now we know. But before, we probably could have been a horror story because we wouldn't have known any of this stuff.
There's a ton of things that go on in the background that most consumers don't really think about, and it's not just signing the contract. You really need a copy of basically a redacted file, which is everything that they're going to include as part of your inspections and your certifications, and what information they gather and at what points.
Enjoy your process, but make sure that you got your papers together. Because sometimes the excitement of getting a yes, of getting something that you've dreamed about forever, and it's happening, can blind you from the work you're supposed to be on top of, that you shouldn't have to be, because the people that you paid should be doing the work, but they ain't doing the work. Anyway.
And we're going to close it out with one final horror story. There's a couple articles that are online if you want to look at home builder disasters.
And we'll put it below.
Yeah, we'll put a couple links below. One in the Washington Post is one that happened real recently. But I actually had the privilege of speaking with somebody that told me for a fact that their entity had got burnt by a contractor before.
Oh.
And not with a single client, but with multiple clients. And in this particular case, there was a non-refundable down payment that if it was not forgone, and if you didn't opt out of the contract within a couple weeks, I think it was, standard right of rescission in most states is like 3 days. So that you have 3 days if you have buyer's remorse to say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And you can cancel the contract with no penalty, get all your money back. Unless there's a penalty clause, which there shouldn't be. But anyway, in this particular case, they had worked with another representative that was inside of this particular entity and had burnt 5 customers, 5 clients.
And that's just what you heard. It could have been more.
No, they knew that. They were able to track those because these were the people that complained. So let's say hypothetically, each one of those bills were $100,000, right?
Right.
Most down payments for a mortgage is 3.5%, right? You put that as a down payment.
Or 20%, right?
No, 3.5% is the down payment. The down payment.
Okay.
You have 3.5% that you have to cover in order, as far as a down payment for closing, right? Most for new builds, you need to have roughly 10% in equity in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Right. So let's say each one of these properties is $100,000 at 10% equity. That's $10,000 a person.
Okay, so this is just chasing paydays. That's what it sounds like to me when you put something in there like there. Sounds like that to me.
Honestly, there's not.
Because the one thing that my dad always taught me for business is he said a good business deal is good for you and for the person. Like it's not just a one way.
Yeah, but
so that sounds like setup.
You got to think about it from the builder's perspective, right? If I know it's going to take me, I'm not going to get all of my money until I finish the project. Like truthfully, I'm going to get a certain portion of it. So in many people that are doing a certain skill that are providing it back to you, you're getting payments gradually. So what they want to do is try to push the payment time frame up to get the work done. So let's say like on the same day you sign the contract, once that 14th day hits where you no longer can say, I'm out of this process. Let's say I ordered the materials. Okay. Right. And I ordered the materials based on what I got from the down payment until I get the money. And they change your mind. And then they change.
Right. Well, we wouldn't want that either. But
so, but that happens though. So it's not that it's bad for them or good for them and bad for you. It's that, depending on who you're working with, they have a responsibility to try to get paid as early as possible. And you have a responsibility not to back out of the contract. Protection for both people. In some cases, yes. But in this particular case, which brings me back to my initial story.
Right, back to story. Sorry.
They took this money from these 5 people. There's actually more than $100,000 contract, but they took this money from these 5 people and never did anything.